Leonardo Ezekiel. Leonardo Ezekiel. That's our new mashup name. We got baby Ezekiel in the house, in the oven.
Yeah, he's cooking, but he's here.
I would like to welcome everybody. Welcome Angela, Dori. Who else do we have?
Melissa.
Melissa, welcome. We are excited to have this conversation with you all. We're going to try to discuss a little bit of everything. We're going to take some questions and we're going to talk about something that's been sort of the main topic in our household for a good a few weeks, I want to say. Joyanne, welcome. Welcome to the live chat. If you are a person who is currently struggling with something, if you are waiting for something good to happen in your life, if you're waiting for a miracle to happen, if you're waiting for healing, if you're waiting for a blessing of some sort, stick around. Something that we say here could shine a light and help. At least that's what we're hoping, because it's helped us for definitely. We learned a lot, and we learned a huge lesson this month or this week, more to be more exact.
Week,
I know that some of you are aware already, and maybe you've already heard this story. I recently went and took a trip to Mexico, and I was struggling with some things before I left, not being sure which direction to take, looking at other people's successes, namely some other channels on YouTube, seeing their success, seeing where our channel is, and just the struggles of what are we doing. That question, sort of like, what are we doing, and are we still doing the right thing? Are we still taking the right path? And before I went to Mexico, I prayed about it, and I asked God to make this trip as much of a blessing as it possibly can be, but I wanted it to be informative in some way. I wanted to not just be a trip that I just took to visit my family, but I wanted to learn something. I wanted to get something out of it. And as always, his message has always been, look for me, be on the lookout for me. It's like God and I are playing hide and seek, and he's always asking me to look for him in places that I don't expect to find him. And so it really centers me, and it really allows me to see the situation in more of a spiritual sense than it is like a more humanistic. Is that a word? Humanistic? It is now. We make up words.
We're make up words on this channel.
In this channel, we make up words. Very humanistic, very, earth worldly, I guess. Not to look at it in a worldly mindset, but to look at it in spirit and to find him. And one day, I was having dinner with my family in Guanajuato. Shout out to the beautiful people of Guanajuato, Mexico. And this woman approaches our table. And in Mexico, every 5 minutes, you're being interrupted by someone who's either very poor and looking to just make a few coins, and or someone who's trying to scam you into something, right? Like trying to sell you like a tour or something, or timeshares or whatnot. But in this particular case, this older woman approached our table, and she was selling these lollipops. And this lollipop, it looked really good, but I said, no, we're fine, thank you. But I still took out some change and I gave it to her, and she goes, pick one. And I said, no, it's fine. Just, sell them. And she goes, no, please pick one. And then my aunt looks over at me. She goes, get one. She's selling it to you. Get it. And I said, yeah, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make a donation to whatever it is that her needs are. And I'm wanting her to take that lollipop that was going to go to me and have her sell it to someone else and make more money. Like, I'm making a donation, and then she can take that and sell it and make more money. And the woman comes over to me, and she looks at me like this, looks right at me. And she says, I'm going to say it in Spanish, and then I'll translate it into English for those of you who don't speak Spanish. But she looks at me, and I have to say it in Spanish. She looks right at me and says, muchacho, Dios provee. Nada más se necesita poquita fe y mucha paciencia. And I was like frozen for a moment. And the literal translation to that is, she said, son, God provides. All you need to do is have a little bit of patience, and a little bit of faith. All you need to do is have a little bit of faith and a lot of patience. So I'm trying to do something kind here. I'm trying to make a donation here and have her take that money as extra on top of what she was gonna make. And she said, no, 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 don't do that. She wasn't selfish. She wasn't looking to make more money. She just said, no, 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 don't worry about me. Like,
Yeah.
God will provide. All you need to do is have a little bit of faith and a lot of patience. And those words hit me, like they washed over my soul. And I couldn't, I was just surprised. I looked over at my aunts and they were like, whoa, that was deep and that was weird because of the way she looked at me. And in a few minutes later in retrospection, I asked one of my aunts, like, didn't she look kind of like my tia Raquel who passed away? This woman who was like the most kindest woman ever that our family had ever known. And I'll show you what she looks like. Well, this is actually a picture of my grandmother, but it's almost like you're looking at my aunt. And I learned from my dad in that trip that my grandmother, this is my grandmother, she looked exactly like her. I mean, exactly like her. And my grandmother was known for helping. I mean, she was poor, but she was known for helping the poor in her town. People would knock on her door and ask, like, do you have something to eat? And she always offered whatever she had, to the point that my grandfather would always get angry at her for giving away what little they had, but she didn't care. She just gave it. She said, sort of in the same spirit of God will provide. And that's the message here today, familia. Like, some of you are waiting for something. Some of you are waiting for a miracle to happen, something good to happen in your life. Maybe you've gone through, this last few years, maybe you've experienced loss in your family, loss after loss after loss of some sort, either family members, friends, or businesses, or, opportunities. And today's message is just that. It's about having a little bit of faith and a lot of patience. This last week, Erica and I, without getting too much into details, we've been just struggling in one particular area of our life, and to the point that I was like, where are we gonna go from here? What are we gonna do from here, right? But I've just been like remembering those words of that woman, and I've been reminding myself, like, just be patient, just have a little bit of faith and have a lot of patience. And just to kind of give you an idea, a few days ago, one of our neighbors had a huge party. And he had a huge party in celebration of how well his businesses have been doing. MJ, love you too. And this is what we're talking. We were talking about distractions, right? About like earthly things trying to pull you away from having that faith, from sticking in that faith, and from continuing your path with God and with Christ. And you have all these earthly things that are like distractions, right? You look at other people's accounts, like on Instagram, and you're seeing how well they're doing, and then you can't help but feel a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of envy there. That tells you could be doing that if only you would put yourself out there in this way. Well, a neighbor of ours had a party, and his party was in celebration of just how well his businesses are doing. He has several businesses, and they're all doing really well. And there was somewhat of a hook with that party, because he actually dedicated that party to Saint Jude, who's like the patron of like business owners or whatnot, and a lot of Mexicans or Latinos, Hispanics, they get like tattoos, they have them on their walls, they have them in their business, they have all kinds of, they just practically have them everywhere. And then, I'm gonna speak for myself. I get this creeping thought that says, like, maybe you should become devoted to this saint, to have things flow better in that way. And then immediately I remembered those words from that lady. It's not Judas, no, it's Jude. Yeah. I remember those words, and it was odd. It's odd in the sense, because it's odd in this way, that something in me wants to make a move. It wants to act in some way to sort of get myself out of this, I don't want to call it a hole, but this situation, right? We want to act. Something about me wants to act and take action. But this other voice is saying, no, be still. this other voice is saying, be still. And it's a little frustrating because what's here in this stillness, you know? What is this stillness getting me? Because as a human being, you want immediate returns for something. You want something now, something quick, right here, right now, in this moment. I want to have it here. If I don't, this stillness isn't getting me anything. And Erica and I were just talking about that the other day, about how we're looking at, say, other friends or other people who are not really doing anything for God. They're not, at least it doesn't appear that way because of the things that they're doing, right? But what do we do with that? We're looking at them, we see their success, and immediately we think maybe we should be doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is like a distraction from the path. It's saying like, look, it's just like those people that you run into in Mexico that are like trying to sell you those tours. They're trying to scam you into the quick, like, hey, you guys want to have fun? Take this road right here. This road here will lead to riches. It'll lead to success. It'll lead to this and that and the other. And what do you do, right? What do you do, familia? So the question right now is, have you dealt with something like that in your past, where somebody else's success seems more enticing than what you're currently doing? Somebody else's road, you want to take somebody else's path, to get you what you want, essentially, as if you know better than God. Because God really knows what you need, and I believe that. I really strongly believe. I seriously was having the same conversation with God. I had to repent from that.
There's a lot of new people today too.
So welcome.
I'm. If you guys see me, like, I'm gonna engage. I'm just trying to like welcome, and I'm typing on the computer, as you guys can see.
Okay.
I just want to like make sure that we greet and see and don't miss any of the new people that we're getting today. We have 64 people on the live right now.
Beautiful. So talk to us. And I want to welcome and thank all of you for joining us in this conversation. Yeah. And I do want it to be a back and forth. I understand I'm not really talking to you all in person, so it makes things a little bit harder.
I'll make sure to, like, if I see something to like pop up, I'll have you if you miss it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Because I really do want this to be sort of a thing where we're talking to one another. We're sharing each other's stories, and maybe you have insight that helps me, or we might have some insight that helps you, Jackie says she had to wait 60 years for counseling.
Speaking of
talk about patience. talk about patience, right? Mm-hmm. Having to wait that long. I just want to mention that it's definitely worth the wait. And I know that this is going to sound strange, but I think the greatest thing that could have happened to me was to have had that conflict that I had at church that led me into atheism. I'm not sure how you're all going to take that, but I mean that in the most positive way, because what I found was that I in my previous faith, I was merely chasing an image. I was chasing an image, and I was praising a God that was more of an intellectual God than it was the actual raw thing that we call the Spirit of God. And to me, that's been a huge blessing, because it really showed me who I am. And I guess in the end, that's really what mattered to me, was for me to know who I truly am. And it's interesting because in recent comments that I've gotten, I've been labeled new agey, which I don't understand, but but we're gonna clear some of that stuff out if we can. But just that, it's just about the conversation that we're having today is about having a little bit of faith, just the tiniest little bit of faith, and know that God will provide and that God will come through on what is best for you. So what does that look like? Am I really saying that if you have faith that He's going to heal your cancer, or that He's going to heal your family troubles, or that He's going to bring your children back to you if they've walked off the path? I'm not making any guarantees here. I'm not saying that if you have a little bit of faith, this will happen. But faith goes a really long way in also trusting that no matter what the outcome, that it's what's best for you. It's what's best for your family. It played out the way that God wanted it to. And what I'm really saying is surrendering your will, surrendering your wants, surrendering your desire, how you want the outcome to turn out, and just surrendering to the outcome of God, whatever it is, even if it hurts, right?
Yeah.
Even if it hurts, and in most cases it does. It does hurt, because the biggest lessons that we learn as human beings come from the biggest suffering, the biggest pains, the biggest losses. You know, if you are wise and humble enough to see it as a lesson, right? Are we doing anything?
A lot.
A lot.
It just
Okay.
depends on. Yeah, there's just like a lot of. Give me a sec. I don't know.
Can we try this too? While you're looking at up there, can you open up the chat in your phone?
Yeah, of course.
And then I can just, I think it's easier that way than here. But I'm gonna try to take some of your comments here and talk about them, and then I'm also gonna try to answer any questions that you guys might
I mean,
have.
they're more like, they're not so much as questions, they're more of like
Yeah.
statements and stuff like that. And
Jan Chalet says, I've been out of work since October 16th with a car note due tomorrow with no income, but I have yet to receive anything from workman's comp. That's a tough situation. I'm so sorry, Jan Chalet. And Familia, if you see anything on here on the live chat that you would just like to offer a prayer to, please feel free. We want you all to be like we call each other familia, and familia means family. Family looks out for each other, and if all you can do is offer a prayer, then offer a prayer, please. Prayer and meditation are powerful actions. We're only conduits for His will, says Timothy. Thank you, Timothy. Andrea says, definitely, and it doesn't work. You have to do your own road. It's okay. What do you get to do? Acts 2:42. Matt, welcome, man. So glad to see you. I we're looking at the comments this morning, and I noticed that you were commenting on the last two videos. I'm gonna take some time to respond to some of those comments as well. I found God creates some restlessness inside me for a year or two before He decides to supplant me. It's a hard feeling, like a plant root bound, then finally given space. I love that imagery. I love that imagery. I really like that imagery, Melissa. Thank you so much for that. I can see the goodness in Christ in you. You have a beautiful soul. Thank you, Laura. By the way, sometimes I'll read those comments and I know that I say like, oh, thank you. And it sounds like I'm dismissing it. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I hope it didn't come across that way. I had somebody tell me that it did come across that way a little bit. I'm not meaning to. It's just it's a little strange for me to have that kind of attention pointed at me, because I'm not. It's really not about me. So I really don't know how to respond to that other than to say thank you. So thank you. If we can get that private dating whatever removed, please. There's like a chat that just came. Thank you, Angela. Hey guys, I remember a while back the Lord had me watch a video of you reacting to Christian videos, and on one of those videos I told you that you reminded me of my brother. Yours truly. Thank you. I was just telling someone that I have that face that reminds people of other people except for me. So I guess I look like so many people, but I except myself.
remember that one person? Sorry, I just brought this up to you when you brought this up a couple days ago, I think. That guy was like so adamant that you were like a fraud, and that you were like in a band, and he was like in a Christian band.
Yeah, I was like, that's
artist.
not me.
And then we went to go like, because I think he left a link for us to see. And like he did kind of look like you, I guess, from like the side.
Yeah, we did have the same handsome
but
features.
like it was just like he was like so adamant. He's like, I know for sure this guy is a fraud. He's
a fraud. He's been a Christian for a long time and he's fooling you. And I'm like, dude, that's not me. I mean, it looks like me, a lot like me, but it's not me. He claims to be an atheist, but now he's told he's praying. So if God brought you this far, He would do the same with him. I'm so glad you came this far. Okay, I mean, if we want to talk about that a little bit, and it sort of it fits into having a little bit of faith and a lot of patience. You know, we're not going to beat people into wanting to become a Christian or to follow Christ. Someone left a comment saying like, you have to hit people with the truth, and the truth is going to get them to come to Christ. I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen. It doesn't happen that way. Some people just really need you to love them and really need you to be patient with them and to not want to invite them to church every chance you get. A lot of times it's just going to be, hey, I want to invite you to dinner and just have a conversation with you, and for you to make that conversation completely about them and for them to feel heard and for them to feel loved and open and welcome, in order for them to be open to you first, and then your influence. The reason why I feel like I'm back home is because a lot of you had that patience with me. Some people were like, this guy is still out here, really still being non-Christian. What is he waiting for? He's just lying to you. He's just tricking you. He had that. We had those comments. And then we had the comments of the people who were just saying like, hey man, be patient. Like he'll come around, and you know what? He's just exploring his faith, and he'll come around, and I'm here. I'm around. I'm back home, familia. I think I've explained that in one of my recent posts that I had a few days ago, where I pointed out that like some of you think that I'm new in my faith, and you seem to be impressed that like I've come so far. I've been here before, but like I said, I grew up Catholic, and so that my old Catholic teaching is telling me that was teaching me about a Christ that doesn't really exist. It was teaching me about a Christ that was hanging guilt over my head all the time. And I'm not in any way, familia, I'm not talking bad about our Catholic brothers and sisters. I don't want to be on here and gossip about our brothers and sisters. These people are hurting. They've had loss. They've had moments of despair, and they cling to their beliefs as tightly as they possibly can, praying to saints and praying to virgins and all that, without knowing what they do. So if I can quote Jesus, like, forgive them, Father, let's forgive them, because they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to latch onto a bit of faith, a bit of hope, and someone offered it to them, and they took it. And it's not their fault. It's not our brothers and sisters' fault. We're to still love them with the same love and same compassion as we would love our partners or our brothers, our blood sisters, and offering them that same love and compassion and understanding. So I'm not looking to badmouth it. I'm simply sharing my experience. I believed I was in the church 3 or 4 days a week, playing guitar for God. And it took a priest to threaten to kick me out of the church, for me to leave the church, for me to be an atheist, to question everything there was to question about it, to be, and this was beautiful, is that God allowed me to be defiant in that way. And he showed a lot of patience with me, and was still there whenever I showed up, right? But my point being that I feel like I had to leave that, and I felt like I had to be completely alone and completely open and vulnerable in order for me to really, really be open and welcoming God again. And I did. I welcomed God again, and just not Christ. When I say God, I mean the Father, and I call him the Great Spirit because he's great and he is a spirit. So I always called him the Great Spirit because the word God had been hijacked by people, and it didn't mean the same thing that it used to mean to me before. And so using the word God back then was still weird for me because of people who misused him to push their agendas. But so I called him the Great Spirit. But little by little, he led me back here on YouTube to react to songs and to listen to the stories and listen to the messages, and it eventually led me to see The Chosen, which is coming out season 3. Amazing. And and they've been receiving some heat lately too, and the devil doesn't rest, and so I really needed that. In order for me to come back home. I needed this. I needed to walk away and to be where I was in order for me to find my home again. And yeah, so here I am. Is there anything?
Spiritual. No? It's like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Janella Moore says spirituality is having a relationship with our creator. Religion is crowd control. Yeah. When it comes to that word, like having a relationship with God, if I can share just briefly what that means to me, and then maybe Erica, you can say a word or two if I can be quiet for a minute.
No, it's okay. I'm pretty sure they're enjoying what you're saying. I'm doing my part with. I'll comment and stuff when it's my turn. I don't want to cut you off when you're on a roll.
Beautiful, thank you. So having a relationship, it's important to me that I have a relationship, a spiritual relationship with God our Father through His Son, with the assistance of the Holy Spirit. And that I don't have a relationship with the idea of God, that I don't have a relationship with the image of God, with what somebody else has painted, with what somebody else has said that God is. I want to see God and know God for myself. This isn't something that I'm trying to preach that you all should do. I'm just simply telling you how I approach this and how I am in the place that I am. Because I've been lied to about it before. Going into my atheistic world, into the world of atheism, I learned a lot of cynical things about God and cynical things about Christ. I also, because I was not in the Christian, because I was not in the spiritual water, I was able to look from a different angle and see all of the piranhas and the serpents and all the dangers that are found in the spiritual water. People who are forcing their ideas, their beliefs, their interpretations onto innocent people who are hurting, who are wanting to come close to God, and instead they sidetrack them and they bring them closer to an idea of God. And thankfully, some of those people escape when they see that the falseness of those people. I'm not going to name any or anything like that, but when a church falls apart, for example, and then it just so happens that everything they were taught was a lie. So that's how I interpret that. For me, it's about having a relationship with God directly, and not a relationship, and having a relationship directly with the Father through Christ, not having a relationship with Christ through rituals and practices and beliefs. If that makes sense to you. Cynthia Carlos says, I can resonate. Wanting someone else's road seems enticing to us, and being discouraged when you see others succeed. I love that you have a different angle from God, not religion. Thank you. And that's so that's kind of more, that kind of nails it, right?
Yeah.
Being discouraged when you see somebody else succeed, but they're not really following that road. So the question then comes, what is it do I want? What is it that I want? Do I want to have success but not have God? Or do I want to have God and not have that success? Or have success because I have God, right? I guess it just comes down to what it is that I want. Christians are humans and will always let you down. That is why we are asked to keep our eyes on God. Yes, I agree 100%. It's been so heartwarming to see you go through this journey. I remember being in tears watching you experience some revelation moments about Jesus while watching The Chosen. I love The Chosen, by the way. We're very fortunate to have a show at that scale.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some more reactions on some of the dialogue, the monologues, and some behind the scenes stuff, so that we can really show you, like, so while a lot of the other channels are talking about, like, gossiping about that he's taken from the Book of Mormon, and they're like, well, gossiping. I don't want this channel to take that route. So I want us to be able to talk about the stories that are being told and the way in which they're doing them. So I'm going to be reacting to The Chosen and just giving you sort of like the filmmakers side of it, just because I want this channel to be different, and I don't want to get tangled up in gossip and get other people tangled up in gossip. I don't like that. Let's see. Happy Caffeinated Couple. Thank you so much for the super chat. Grateful to have recently found your channel. Been blessed by it. Thank you to you both.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you so much. If you have any questions now, I guess we'll take the next few minutes to answer any questions or to look at some of your comments, and then we'll be.
Andre, yes, we have seen The Shack. We also love that movie. We've seen it, I think, about 3 times.
So, if you would like, Erica and I can do something here on the channel, because Erica and I love to watch movies, and we watch films of all types.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all types. We understand that these are just stories. We know how to separate fact from fiction, and so we've have been talking about doing some reactions to films. So if it's something that you're interested, you let us know. If you want us to watch a film, a Christian film, and we can give you our take on it. We're still amateurs, so we might have more questions than we do have like answers of some of the things. So we might not be able to tell you like, oh, biblically this is right or this is wrong, right? But if you want, then we can do that.
Yeah.
Lisa Reynoso, the list of benefits on Patreon, I haven't gotten many of them. Are you still oh yes, okay, so Patreon is in the middle of making some changes and some switches, okay? I haven't really been on Patreon lately, but I am going to be on Patreon more often now because they're releasing it's okay. They're releasing a feature that will allow me to post up to, I think, 500 hours worth of video, which is good news for Patreon partners and members. Anything that might be blocked on YouTube, I might be able to post it there. So any songs like from like Elevation Worship, Maverick City Music, and all those other bands that I cannot cover, I might be able to cover them there and then give you all access to that. So referring to the monthly Zoom chat, for example, yes. So Lisa, then what I can do is I'll log in today, and I'll schedule an appointment with you to have a Zoom meeting with you, and then we'll discuss more that a little bit more in detail. Is that fair? Is that okay? Thank you for your question, by the way. The disciples were chosen. Every time I watch, I still believe I cry. So what did they say, yes or no?
To what?
To us reacting to films?
Well, I didn't see any like definite yeses, but I saw a lot of happy caffeinated couple said yes, that would be great. I think that's like the only one that I caught. Yeah, it's like the only one that I caught that said yes, that would be great. And I'm assuming they're referring to the question.
Okay, so I'm just really hoping that doesn't conflict with the music part of it and the algorithm doesn't go berserk, but it's still all in the same Christian theme, right? So it should be fine. It should be fine. So here's what we'll do. We're going to start off with Erica and I reacting to the new film that's going to be coming out called Jesus Revolution, which stars Jonathan Rumi, is his last name? Who plays Jesus in The Chosen. We'll start by reacting to the trailer, and then we'll start seeing how we can go about watching other films, and then we'll give you our opinion. I probably cannot react to the film itself like we did with The Chosen live, but we'll take clips and then we'll talk about it. Yeah, and then we'll say like we can both give you our opinion as far as like the story is, if it was believable, if we if we have any questions, we'll ask questions.
And then a lot of questions.
And then I will touch on all the other stuff like the filmmaking stuff, like lighting and acting and camera shots and all that stuff. So yeah, it seems not all comments are popping up for you guys.
Is there any
There are a few more saying yes. Okay, so yes, I'm seeing them now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes.
I just don't see them on my laptop for some reason.
Beautiful.
I don't know if we have the same thing popping up on yours.
Maybe not. Have you listened to Zach Williams' To the Table? Very powerful. I have not yet listened to that. We are bringing back the Grinch series. Erica loves the Grinch series.
I love the Grinch series because I love Christmas. So I'm not a Grinch with Christmas. I love music. But I don't know. But I understand his reasoning as to why Christmas wasn't like a big thing for him. Christmas was really big in my family. And no, we weren't the ones who were, and I'm not judging if you do this, okay? I don't pass judgment on anybody. But, not but canceling that out. We wait till after Thanksgiving. We do to like start decorating and all that, you know. So we're not like November 1st already. Like we don't skip Thanksgiving. We wait, you know. So,
Good.
yeah.
I love the Grinch series. Sorry, I took advantage that she was talking to have some cookie, and
No,
now
you're okay. Yours truly. Yes, I was a Christian before Leonardo. When he met me, I recently started my journey getting back into church and finding a church and going and rebuilding my relationship with God. We didn't really have a lot of conversations about it though when I first met him because I knew kind of where he stand, and it wasn't that he was ever like standoffish about like my relationship with God and my journey. I always try to like respect other people's journey and place with it. I don't ever like to be pushy or force it 'cause I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, you know. And he was really nice though because I would listen to my music, my worship music all the time, whether I was getting ready or when we were hanging out in the background and I had music. He was very welcoming to it and wasn't like rude and like turn it off. I don't want to hear that kind of thing. Like he respected that was what I preferred to listen to, you know. So I've always respected and appreciated that from him.
because I loved and respected you, so
Yeah. Yeah.
so naturally, right?
Yes.
But yes, she's always been a Christian, and
And actually, speaking of that really quick, a little update for those of you who have known my story a little bit, and who've prayed for my dad. I want to just bring that up a bit because he's doing really well. Really well. He's been going to church every Sunday. My dad has not drank or done anything in months. And he's like I just see like he's still dealing with some health issues. However, his spirit looks different. It feels different. I don't know, how would you explain it, Amod? I don't know. He's just different. Even when he expresses things, I think he had told me, we were on a phone call the other day, and he had said, and it kind of goes in like with faith and patience, because I feel like we've had faith and a lot of patience with him, and I think with himself. And I mentioned something to him about like me not being perfect. I don't know how I worded it, but he had mentioned that right now at church, they're talking about a series called Unfinished. And his remark back to me was like, Mika, that's what he calls me. You know, we're all unfinished. Like we're not finished with our relationship with God and all this stuff. And he had a lot of insight to that. And then when I told him, I mentioned something to him about like, well, what are you going to leave me or something like that? And then he had said, I'm gonna leave you with hopefully knowing our Savior or something like. What? How did he word it? How did he say it?
I think he said that he's gonna leave you with a relationship with God or something to that effect.
So he's just different.
He's present.
Like yeah.
You know, he's present. I think he's now like with his mind, he's not completely distracted or disturbed or
No.
you know, and it seems like whatever was troubling him before, it's not there anymore, or it's starting to dissipate. And so he's very present. But we thank you and we appreciate all of you who prayed for.
A lot of people that have prayed for him, and a lot of people who know in depth a little bit about that backstory.
Van Santos, that's excellent news. I'm so happy to hear about your wife. Thank you.
Oh.
His wife, she's doing really well, and cancer is full remission.
Oh, that makes my heart so happy.
Yeah, love it. Can you explain why there's school shootings and people are getting at church, or even why unborn babies die?
Keep it.
Yeah, keep it.
Okay,
Keep it. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I struggle with those things and push me away from Christ. Ryan, I'm gonna think for a moment and try to put myself in your position and try to fully understand why this particular situation will move you away from Christ. And before I do, I just want you to, if you could press the pause button on that for just a moment, I'd appreciate it if you would. meaning if you hit the pause button on walking away from Christ,
Or if you would,
for just one moment, hit the pause button on that, meaning don't walk away just yet, okay? You hear me out. The things that are in disorder, in my view, have nothing to do with Christ. Christ is not about disorder. Christ is about order and about love and about compassion. And I imagine that part of the struggle, part of the thing that you're struggling with is that if God created everything, if everything came through Christ, then why are these terrible things happening to human beings? And you have to remember that there's another personality, another being that is looking to destroy everything that God has created. That wherever there's good, that's where he is. I recently heard something about that devils and demons. I don't know too much about them. I don't try not to pay too much attention to that, but that the devil is more likely in church where good things are happening, where the word is being spoken, where the truth is being spoken, and trying to destroy the innocence in any way that he possibly can. So when we're looking at things that happen, like schools being, where bad things are happening in school to kids in school, I don't know how many of these words I can actually say on here.
Yeah, I would just limit.
Right? So, but you know what I mean, to answer your question. A lot of the things happen from what I've noticed is these kids that are ending up going back to school and committing these acts are kids that were bullied, kids that were tormented in some way, and they don't know how else to handle it. They can't turn to their parents because their parents won't do anything about it. They don't turn to the teachers because sometimes the teachers are part of it. Unfortunately, that sucks. I've heard many cases where like coaches will see a group of kids bully another kid and they won't stop it. Sometimes they're encouraging it and to toughen them up, right? We don't understand why some people end up committing those crimes. They just feel like powerless. And this is so when you're feeling powerless, you're on one side of the spectrum. You are feeling weak. You're feeling like alone. You're feeling secluded, excluded from all that stuff. You feel like the side of evil is pressing down on you. And the only way that you can overcome that, and I'm talking about how they feel, the only way that they could overcome that is by going to the extreme opposite and embodying that anger, and that hatred, and that powerlessness by taking that power into their own hands and then harming others. And then guess what? Now suddenly all the people who were looking away, they're looking at it now. They're forced to look at it. I'm not recommending that anybody do that. We shouldn't do that. When it comes to why babies are being, taken out before, I really don't understand that myself. I try my best to understand it before I reject it or before I accept it, because in that understanding is going to come wisdom on knowing how to act on it or knowing how to handle that. In most cases, a lot of people are afraid. In most cases, a lot of people are unprepared for taking care of that child. You hear cases of people who end up harming their children after they're born, which is just as terrible, if not worse, because now this child actually has understanding. Now this child actually is dependent on this human being to take care of them, and this parent is torturing them in some way and ends up harming them and then eventually ending them. And it's infuriating. I know that. But please understand that I don't believe that has anything to do with Christ. That has everything to do with the enemy, who is trying to create division in people, who is trying to harm people, who's trying to get them to come off the path, who shows them that, bless you, my love.
Excuse me. Sorry.
That tries to get you to take another route, another exit. That's not good, right?
Yeah. Really quickly. Good night, Jackie. Thank you for stopping by. We love you.
Jackie, good night.
Get lots of rest. And then I would just like to point out Aline says, my brother has terminal cancer. Can you pray for him? His name is Marlon Franklin. I'm not sure how to pronounce the rest of the name. I'm so sorry, but Brazilian. And I said that we are with her and La Familia is praying for
yes,
her,
we definitely will.
Their brother.
If there's any way, Angela, can you please,
I have it.
or
The Discord?
yeah, Discord, or yeah. Erica's gonna post.
Copy and paste already.
Erica's gonna post the link to our Discord page. If anybody needs that sort of prayer, you can join us there, and we have people who are willing to pray for you. And feel free to also in the comment section. I don't like to do these things sort of on a public level, but this is the best way, because if we get 1,000 people to watch this in the next few days, then you get 1,000 people praying for you, and I believe in amplified prayer.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question a little bit. And I hope that you don't walk away from Ryan. I hope you don't walk away from God just yet. But if you have to be still, then be still. Yeah. You know, if you have to take a moment, then take that moment. Be very careful not to walk away, because then then to a certain degree, what the enemy, what the evil one wanted to achieve with those tragic events, he succeeds if you walk away. He wins if you walk away, because that's exactly what he wants. He wants to have all these bad things happen to stir some confusion in you, to stir some doubt in you, and get you to walk away from the only thing that can protect you, from the only thing that provides for you. So, if you can, just be still. You know, just be still. We can't let him win, familia. We can't let him win. Like, Christ did so much work and suffered so much for us to just simply walk away. It's infuriating. I understand that sometimes some of these things happen and you think it's unfair, especially when they happen to you, especially when it's happening in your family. It's hard to say, God, why are you allowing this to happen, and to blame God. You know what? And I'll take it from me, from personal experience. God, I'm gonna say it this way, okay? I mean, I am being sort of funny in the way that I'm saying it, but God is a big boy. He can handle your anger and your big questions and your blame. He can handle that. And even when you walk away, he still follows you along, make sure that you're safe. So you just want to be careful not to walk away too soon, especially when it's happening to you. Just a little bit of faith, and a lot of patience. And if you can bring yourself to that stillness and ask that question, I have a little bit of faith that he will answer you. He will. So, yeah. I hope you're still with us, Ryan. I don't know that I saw anything, any other response, but that's just it. Let's see. Let's see. And I guess this is a perfect time, familia. If you can just pause from your comments, just pause for 1 second. And if we can all just either silently or with an emoji like the prayer hand emoji, if we can just offer Ryan a small prayer. A small prayer for whatever is stirring up inside of him that's creating conflict, whatever's stirring up inside of him that is creating doubt. that God sticks his hand in there and stops all that stirring up, and that he's filled with light and truth, and that we don't lose this brother. That we don't lose this brother to confusion and to the tricks of the evil one, the dark one. That he remembers that he has a father that loves him very much, and that he's trying to keep us all safe. But that trickster is up to his old tricks, and he has to know he's not going to succeed on this one. We're not gonna lose this one. This one's staying with us. And while we're there, we can pray for anybody else who's dealing with the exact same thing, because he's not the only one. He's not alone. Ryan is not alone. There are many people who are conflicted by this, confused by the media, confused by the church, even sometimes their very own pastor who's creating anger and confusion. And we just want to pray for anyone else who might be feeling the exact same way that Ryan's feeling, and that God lights up a little lantern inside of them, and that they stay close to this light, that they stay safe, and that the mind is not out in the open for the devil to whisper in and create confusion in La Familia, in our Father's familia. That anybody else who's suffering with mental confusion, mental illness, or doubt of any way, of any sort, in the same way that maybe even I was dealing with when I was leaving the church, that they stay. So Ryan says, it is tough for sure, but I appreciate your prayers and thoughts. Just listen to what you said. Thank you for your advice. It's, yeah, you're welcome. And I really do hope that it takes you someplace, that it brings you peace. Just, if you know, I just want to say it this way too. If you know Christ, if you really know Christ, you'll know that this is not him doing this. This is not his doing. It's not that he's allowing it to happen. It's that in this world, and this is my understanding, and if I'm wrong in this understanding, you're more than welcome to correct me. In no way am I trying to present myself as the authority of what God is or isn't. But if I understand this correctly, it's the devil that has dominion here in this realm, in this world. Which is why we're asked to not be a part of it, in a sense, especially if you can't handle it. If you don't have the, I'll just say it that way. If you can't handle it, you should stay away from things you don't understand, things of this world. But if you do know who God is, if you do know who Christ is, you'll know that if you stay close to him, he'll protect you from all that, and he'll have all the answers that you're looking for. So, I hope that helps, Ryan. Familia, thank you all so much for offering your prayers to Ryan and for anybody else who's suffering in this way. It's appreciated. And if this channel saves one person, then it had served this purpose, really. So, yes. Yeah. Anything you want to touch on with regards to having a little bit of faith and a lot of patience?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, we didn't get into detail really. We don't have to about you said like we've been struggling for like a little bit of a week. For me personally, I feel like I've been struggling for a few months. A lot of things. There are some good, and I try to hold on to looking at those good things and not just dwell on the things that are not going right or seem to be stressful and overwhelming and frustrating, which leads me to, and even faith. But yeah, more so the last couple weeks, I guess it's been a little more tough. Because I think somebody asked what they could be praying for us for. What is there anything they could be praying for us for? I mean, I can speak for myself. I won't get into too much detail. There is just some things that I'm struggling with financially. You know, I was working for a company and for her, you know, delivering food and groceries and stuff. And then they ended up letting me go. And I tried my best to get it back. I was really unreasonable, in my opinion. So right now I don't have something that I'm not really, well, I don't have an income. So much going on. So that's been like really hard to, it's really hard for me to stay faithful at times, especially since we got a lot going on. We got a new baby coming and then that stresses me out. So I haven't really been myself, and like the patience of waiting and wondering, well, when can I get something? And I thought I was doing everything right by like, you know, calling and explaining myself and trying to stay calm while being pregnant is kind of hard too, because you got to remember, I have to be patient with that as well. So
praying for opportunities to come.
For opportunities, for not so much for there to be an answer, because like it doesn't happen that way. You don't just, you know, I mean it can, but you also have to know that there's it could be a process, you know.
Let's also talk about what happened the moment that you did have a little bit of faith and a little bit of and started your process to patience. What did you get in the mail?
No,
Oh, what happened?
we're at my mom's and I was like I said, I've been trying to hold back, kind of stress, trying not to cry as much. Already with all the pregnant hormones that I have going on, so that doesn't help. But right now I was getting kind of choked up because I haven't really talked about it to anybody else but Leonardo. So we were at my mom's visiting this weekend. It was Thursday night, right? Because we had an appointment on Friday for the baby. And I get mail at my mom's house still. And she was like, oh, you got 2 things in the mail. And one of them was for like health insurance, I think. And then another one just said like tax something. And I was like, what are they taxing me? What am I getting taxed on? So then normally I saw there was like a card in there. Normally I'm just like, oh, they're just trying to sell me something and trying to have me like
you activate this card and you have like a
Yeah.
loan or
I'm like,
some
I
credit
don't know
card
if
or
it's like
something.
a scam. So then I was just like, but then I was reading and and then I was like, Leonardo, like, what do you think this is, babe? And then he was reading, he's like, I don't know. He's like, call the number, like, see if there's any like money. And then I was like, okay. I mean, because it asked for me to activate the card. Normally when you get like something for a credit card or something, they don't tell you to call and activate the card, like with the 4-pin and all that. So I called and I did the whole process and they told me my balance. And they told me that I did have money on that card. And so I was like, and instantly like, he's looking at me with this look like, okay, you need to like, not need to, but this is the part of, you know, having a little bit of faith and a lot of patience. Like, look what happened. Like, you know, I'd least expected it. I wasn't praying for somebody to give me money. Like, that's not what I had been like praying for.
Because that's not how it works. But
no.
I said to her, before you do anything else, what did I say?
You said just take a moment and like give gratitude and thanks to Christ. And I, you know, just be still with it and just he does this thing, you know, where he puts his finger up, just like give thanks, like, you know, up. And so I
gotta say something else.
I know. I had to do that so he can say what he's gonna say. And so I was doing that, and then I was like, all right. And in that moment, I had to tell myself, and I think that's like where I get like emotional. Don't cry because my hormones. But it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
To like,
it's hard always.
But yeah, it's hard to like, I don't know, be feeling all these emotions and not knowing what you're gonna do next. And I've been feeling really guilty because Leonardo's been doing a lot of the work and the pressure. I feel like it's a lot of pressure for him. Pregnant hormones. But it's that's been really hard for me because before, like, just like 2 years ago, even before the pandemic, since I was 17, I never really struggled like this. I guess this is like me struggling. I never had it like that, you know. And then I just feel like all the other emotions, like feeling like I'm failing, you know, I'm already failing the baby and like all this stuff. It's just, there's a lot. And so talking about it's gonna make me feel better, I think, because I just literally keep it in and I don't talk about it. And yeah, I've just been struggling to have faith and trust that it's all gonna work itself out. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is what drives a lot of people that I know. It drives them crazy about me, that I've always been like this, like, it's okay, everything's gonna work out. And they're like, how can you be so nonchalant about it? Like, you gotta take action, you gotta do this. Like, no, but sometimes you take action and that action is wrong when what you needed to do was pull back and just wait a little bit. And thankfully, like even after that, like another opportunity is opening up. I have a meeting with someone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if everything goes well, this is going to be a big opportunity for the channel, right? So when she got this thing in the mail, and I said, okay, before you do anything else, take a moment, close your eyes, and I was like, give thanks. Give thanks. I go, because gratitude goes a long way. You know, gratitude is the key that opens up a lot of doors you never thought were going to open. So show your gratitude. Show your gratitude. She did. She took a moment, and then throughout that evening, I just kept going, like signaling, like you know. And then she's like, yeah, okay. You know, it takes something like that to happen sometimes for you to be like, for you to really fully understand, like, okay, that is the way that this works. You do have to have patience. You do have to have a little bit of faith and a lot of patience, and then something good is going to happen. And everything everything good that happens comes only from him. It only comes from him, and having gratitude only opens up. I'm a believer in that, and I'm not trying to do some woo woo or some like new agey thing where I'm trying to teach you all like give thanks and then like all of these doors are going to be open, and that's how it happens. And I'm not selling the secret or anything like that. I'm just simply telling you that for me, gratitude has always been something that opens up that door, and I've been grateful for it. So I've been, you know, I was doing that sign to her. Tell me why. The next day we have an appointment for the anatomy of Ezekiel, and so we got a chance to see like his brain and his heart and everything, and the technician was like, oh, he's covering his face. He's covering his face. He doesn't want us to see it. And at every angle, he was like this, like covering his face, like he didn't want us to see him, right? And then every once in a while, like his finger would like move, and he would move like his little fingers, and we see all these tiny little bones and everything, right? It's amazing, amazing. And then at one point, I look at her because baby Ezekiel was like this.
Yeah, he was with one finger.
He was pointing up, just like the same thing that I was doing. He was doing, and I told her because during this appointment she was so nervous. She was incredibly nervous, just imagining the worst, that they were gonna say something bad about Ezekiel and having him like, not be okay or something. And I said, babe, everything's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. Like, how do you feel? Don't you sense that? And then I said, everything's gonna be okay. And baby Ezekiel was just reminding him, like, Mom, everything's okay. Like,
Yeah, and then he had like,
give thanks.
Go from there. It's like, it looked like he had like praying hands.
Yeah, he was like this. He was like this inside. And I'm like, okay, like, this is great. This is a blessing. And so we say all of that, of course, to just remind you all that all it really does take is just a little tiny bit of faith, a little bit of faith, and a lot of patience. And so if you're not a patient person, maybe today should be the day that you practice having a little bit more patience. When your kids get home from school, and they're off telling you their story about something, like just take a moment and really fully just listen to their story, listen to their story and have a little bit of patience. When you're cooking something and, you spill something, like, be patient. Take that little opportunity to be patient and clean it and say, this happens. Don't get frustrated. Don't yell. When you're sitting there in traffic, just say, this is good. This is okay. God is giving me this lesson of patience, because everything that you deal with in life requires you to have patience, especially with the spiritual things, with the things of God, because something that you think you need today could be on its way. It could be on its way. God knows what you need. God knows exactly what it is that you need, and maybe he's putting in place the right people that are going to eventually, maybe not next week, maybe not a month, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, which requires a lot of patience. In 2 years, this opportunity that you've been waiting for a very long time suddenly opens up for you, and you find yourself, with your prayer answered in that very moment. And it could take forever, but it's okay. So patience is key here. And a reminder to just not be distracted by other paths, other roads, because other roads will present themselves. You will have people that will tell you, invite you to things, and you have to be able to be still enough and to have enough patience to know whether or not this is the thing that God wants you to move on or not. You know, I waited 2 years to do my first reaction video. My 2 years, 2 years. And then suddenly all these little signs, God, 333 everywhere. This one photographer who I wanted to talk to for the longest, he had a band and he had me listen to his music, and he's the one that said, dude, you should totally critique music. I love the way that your detailed comments that I left on his music. And then again, and it just took for me to just say, okay, I'm here, God. What do you want? What do you want from me? It's not about what I want. It's what do you want? And then he just flipped it right back around and said, what is it that you want to do? How do you want to do this? I needed something. I needed something desperately to change in our family and in this house. I needed peace to be in this house. And what I needed wasn't for me. It was for someone else. It wasn't like I needed something for me to be comfortable, for me to drive something good, for me to, to have, go to on vacation or anything like that. I needed something for someone else. I needed some peace for my mom and peace for this household. And it came in the form of God asking me, okay, so be clear. What is it that you want me to do here? What do you want to move? And I was like, I want to critique music. Okay, then start a reaction channel. And again, that voice inside your head that says, no, you can't do that. No, I can't do that. Yeah. Yes, you can. You know how to work videos. You've uploaded videos before. You know how to do that. Just do it. And I did. And it's about having a little bit of patience. A little bit of faith and a lot of patience, and being obedient when the time comes. Being obedient when the time comes. So if I can, other than the other message that we have on this channel, which is to spread love, if I can have you all practice a little bit of patience today, and then let us know in the comment section how you plan on doing that. What did you have patience with today? Your child, maybe your parent, maybe patience with a situation, maybe something that you're trying to solve and you're trying to force to be. Maybe you just take 5 minutes to say, God, I know that I want it to be this way, but I'm just going to take 5 minutes to appreciate and to love what you've given me, and just let it be what it is in this moment. It's terrible, and I'm going to let it be terrible for 5 minutes, and just have patience that you're going to move it in another direction and see what happens. Be still and know. Be still and know that he is God and he can do anything. Anything. Even the things that you think are impossible in this world, he's not in this world. He's beyond it. And he's able to move it for you. And again, because we've been in that same position, when I pray, I don't just pray for my situation, I pray for anyone who's going through that situation. So it's not selfish. So it's not just me asking for me and the well-being of our family, right? Like, no. I say, look, this is what I'm going through. You already know. I don't have to tell you, but I want to take this moment to pray for anyone else who is dealing with the exact same thing that I'm doing. Provide for them. Give them, open up a door for them. Have a check show up. Let them find some money on the ground or something. Let someone say, you know what, I want to bless you, and have that person just bless them and help them pay for something that they're struggling to pay for, to give them peace, give them ease. Like when I pray for someone else, I'd be happy, not jealous that someone else is getting what I wish that I would get, Yeah. So in this moment, because somebody else also mentioned it, if we can, and Jan Chalet, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot here, but I really just would like us all to take a moment to pray for Jan Chalet York, who recently lost her job and is having has things that are due. And it's okay if they are past due, but eventually I want to pray that this situation gets resolved for her, that something is on its way. Yeah. That something is on its way, that it gets resolved, and so if we can all please just offer that prayer, and not just for her, but anybody else who may be dealing with something like that, a loss of work, who's waiting for an opportunity, who's waiting for a phone call, who's waiting for someone to say, hey, we're looking for someone who does this. And it just so happens that you are great at that, in that field. And that they say, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a friend who's hiring someone or is looking to hire someone who does what you do. May those doors just be open. Pray for stillness and patience for the one who desperately needs it done tomorrow. That they find that peace and that patience here in this moment today. And that they have a little bit of faith that God is going to come through on that thing. That he is coming through on this thing. Okay, it's a good question. Oh, should I answer it?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I think so. I know you took it away, but I'm gonna answer it anyway. It was her, right, Julia?
Julia Heath. Yeah, we understand why Angela probably assumed that to take it away, but you could still read it.
Okay, no, that's fine. So Julia asked that the Lord. She says the Lord wants me to ask you if you've forgiven your stepfather. Yes, I have. I have no room for any resentment or anger of any kind towards him. This last trip that I took to Mexico also was a healing journey for me, because I got to spend some time with my real father, and Erica can vouch for me, and I have no reason to lie to any of you, and I'm gonna be completely honest. Just a few months ago, I had told Erica that he meant nothing to me, and I was not trying to be cold, but that, you know, he wasn't a kind person to my mom, and so I didn't really see him as my father, and that if something were to happen to him, I don't think that I would have cried or even just felt like terrible. Like I'd feel bad that he, you know, if he lost his life, that he's not here, but it wouldn't hit me as hard as it would have hit me if, like, my grandparents, you know, who I grew up with.
He didn't have that connection or the relationship with him to where there would be that emotional.
Not at all.
Feeling to that.
Right.
And he had said that, or had said, well, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, just go ahead.
Yeah. So right before I took off to Mexico, my dad actually tried to make amends with my mom. And that's really all I wanted, was like, I wanted him to treat my mother with respect, because she deserves it. She deserves it. And I said, if he does that, then I'll know that he's honest and open and understands that he hurt us. He didn't hurt me directly, but he hurt me indirectly by hurting my mother. And so this last trip that I took, I spent some time with him. I hugged him. I called him Dad. And I told him that I loved him and I respected him, right? Because I don't need to hold that in my heart anymore. There's no room for Christ and for anger in the same space.
I don't feel like they can coexist.
No, they can't. And the same for my stepfather. My stepfather tormented our family. Now, he did hurt me directly for 30 years. He did. For 30 years, he hurt us. And even when I asked God for the opportunity to have him leave this house, I wasn't wishing him harm. It was not like I asked that, like, man, I hope that he gets so drunk, and because that's what he was, like, just drunk all the time. I hope that in one of these times that he leaves, that something bad happens to him and he never returns. It wasn't that at all. Quite the opposite. I thought, okay, he feels obligated here, and that he pays a certain amount of money for rent, and if I can just have God open up an opportunity to where I can supplement that and tell him, hey, you're free now. Like, you don't have to worry about, you know, holding this home together. I just want to be able to tell him, hey, like, just you can go now. Like, I got this. Like, I'll take care of the house. Like, you can go. Yeah. And unfortunately, it didn't go down that way. He became very violent, and the police was called, and he threatened to do me harm. He actually told my mom that if he went to prison or if he went to jail, that he was going to come back and.
Well, you don't want to say the word.
I don't want to say it.
You know what.
We wouldn't be having this conversation. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And And as always, God provided, God protected, and he decided to leave. I changed the locks, and now he's gone, you know, and now he's gone. But as far as forgiving him, yeah, I forgive him, even though he's not asked for forgiveness. I don't think he ever will, but I do. I do, because again, familia, we have to, or well, no, I'm not trying to tell you how to handle your situations, right? But for me, it's very important for me to understand where a person's coming from and why they probably behave the way that they behave. And that's the upbringing he had. He was brought up with violence.
You guys hear Archie?
And he didn't know any other way. He didn't know any other way other than to be violent and aggressive. And so I understand his condition and his conditioning, his upbringing.
That's Archie. He's
big
giving
boy.
his big boy growl. If you guys can hear him.
And so yeah, I've let that go. You know, if I see him in the street, I will still say hello to him because I owe him respect, because he's another human being just like me, and he deserves that much. If you'll reciprocate, that's a whole different story. But yes, I have forgiven him. So thank you for asking that question. I'm sorry that it was.
Yeah, we understand. I love you guys that have to go to class. Okay, thank you, Van
Van
Santos. We are so happy to hear about
Yes.
your wife. Please send her our love, and we hope to hear from you soon again. We can catch up.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. And I've enjoyed this conversation so much. And if you've enjoyed this conversation and would like more people to join it, you can help us out by just hitting the like button.
Yeah, sharing the video, watching the video.
Right. And at the very least, if all you do is hit the like button, that would be great, because then YouTube will just promote this to more people. And if it can bring more people to this conversation and have them hear what we've said today and help them in some way and move them in some way, that's really what we want, right? We want people to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And we want them to have a little bit of faith, just a little bit.
David Wellman, welcome. He says, so you know Christmas is soon around the corner. Erica, you know what that means.
Yes. So
yeah, we need your list. So resend me your list on Discord.
We spoke of this earlier briefly, that we are bringing the Grinch series back. And if you don't know what the Grinch series is, in the last 2 years, we've done what it's called, what we call the Grinch, where that's me, because I'm not a big fan of Christmas or Christmas music, but I opened myself up to listen to Christmas music and see if my Grinch heart grows.
Yeah. In the comment section of this video, I'll post like a couple links from like when he first started it, so you guys can check them out, and then you can kind of get a vibe or like an idea of what it is. So I'll put that after this live. I'll put them in the comment section.
And I'll start recording some of the songs before December, because I'm probably going to do a song every day from December 1st, or maybe after Thanksgiving, until Christmas Day. And we'll listen to as many songs as possibly can. Play Jingle Bells, please. Okay, so I'm gonna try to move away from like the classics like Jingle Bells and all that, unless there's like a rendition of it that is different. Like we explored the little drummer boy with For King and Country. So if there's something different, I'll explore it, but we're gonna try to move away from those. And yes, and that includes the Mary Did You Know? I think did we react to that one?
I believe you did.
I believe we did, yeah.
Yeah, so I can go. If you type in Leonardo Torres and the name of the song, it should pop up like on the search, so that way it'll take you directly to that, and probably the rest of like I was looking over here instead over here. It'll take you to the rest of other musics or songs he reacted to during Christmas time.
Yeah. Or you can just look up Leonardo Torres Grinch, and then you'll see all of the Grinch songs, I think.
Yeah, probably. But just go with mine first, because
yeah. So if you're looking for a specific song, go with what she said. Wonderful, thank you.
I get it. I get some people are just it's not they don't really enjoy it. That's fine. I don't push it on people. I actually don't. I toned it down because I respect that Christmas isn't really your thing. It's not something. Not that it's like you're just not something. You're not something that you want to. You're not a fan of it. I get it. Like, that's okay. But I toned myself down.
Should I explain a little bit about it? Or should we just leave it for the next?
No, we can explain it. We grew up differently. For me, Christmas time it wasn't just about gifts or that, like, or receiving or giving gifts as a kid. Honestly, my family is really big on both sides. Mainly my dad said we do a lot of like gatherings. So I have a lot of memories from Christmas, Thanksgiving, not just Christmas, but all the holidays. Our family is big on getting together and watching Christmas movies, wearing our pajamas, baking goodies, eating lots of amazing food, getting Christmas trees, decorating trees. Like, that's a memory that I have and hold really close to my heart. So for me, I mean, and I'm a December baby. I was born 10 days before Christmas. So I mean, it was great for me. So for me, that's what I enjoy about the family, the getting together. And for me, that's where my love for Christmas comes from.
It was slightly opposite for me. Christmas was a very stressful time of the year, mainly because, well, to try to, for my mother to try to afford gifts and all that. But there was a time, well, it was just stressful. We get together, but it was stressful. And while you were excited that your birthday was 10 days before Christmas, is not that exciting for me, because I would get like happy birthday and Merry Christmas
I mean,
gifts,
so would I. But then again, that falls back to it wasn't the gifts that brought me joy. So for me,
okay. Yeah, you still had all these other wonderful things. It wasn't about the gifts either for me, but it was about the stress that my mother had, and also the stress that it had on me, really, because because of my stepdad, which I've also forgiven him for. But he really didn't let my mother be my mother. If he had two children of their own, and it was gifts for them, and it was gifts under the tree for them, but I couldn't have gifts under the tree because
it was pick out your gift.
Yeah, for me, my mother couldn't show that same affection for me as them, because he would just make it a problem. He would make it a big problem, and then they would start arguments, and why are you spending? And they had that relationship, or that they were fortunate that way. But for me, it was the opposite. It was like, hey, in secret over here, Christmas is coming. I want to get you something, so you can pick whatever you want in the store, and I'll get it for you now.
Yeah.
And so I'd come home with like a radio, because I'd love music, and I'd wanted to listen to music and listen to a CD and record it on a cassette. I don't know why, if I already had the CD, or I guess I would borrow CDs and then just record them on tape. And so like I would come home with my gift, but there was never a gift under the tree for me.
Yeah. And see, that's why I get, and I respect and I understand like the two different sides. So we do try to find like a middle. Like this year, we do want to take the girls. There's maybe about 20 minutes from us. They do like there's like Christmas lights, and we can get like cocoa, and there's food and stuff, like a little like event they have. Yeah. And we've never done that with them. Right. So that's a stepping stone, and just doing it with the girls, making our own memories. Like, it doesn't have to be the traditional what people do, what everyone else does. I mean, we could just find our own joy with our Christmas, and you didn't get it as a kid.
And I'm open to that, and also that doesn't mean that it's okay for me to ruin it for my kids. So I don't do that.
Well, you don't. He doesn't ruin it for the kids. We do the Christmas.
I participate. I give gifts, and I make people things. Gifts and.
Well, and then we do the food, and we do get. I mean, his mom is just really big on she has like the fake trees. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people would do that though, so they don't have to worry about having to water. I mean, I grew up with having a real tree all the time.
I know, it's just we've never done the real tree thing, so I don't know that. I think my mom doesn't know how to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe
she doesn't know how to go about it.
Maybe this year, because baby Ezekiel will convince her.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I get the two different worlds, lives that from memories from that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Definitely gonna make our own tradition, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this was a great talk.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
A great talk and great listening, because I did more listening. But I was really in here also commenting, seeing people, a lot of new people today. We have almost 80 likes. It's been nothing other than under 60 people that have been watching the whole time. So we really appreciate you guys sticking through and having a conversation with us.
Yeah. So all the things that we said to leave in the comments. We will look over them later. If any of you have any questions you want me to answer and we want to revisit in a live chat, I can have questions that are pre-asked, and we'll answer them on the next one.
And thank you, Angela. Angela left the Discord on there. You can always reach out to Leonardo there if you want to have like a prayer that he can pray for you separately or talk to you about. You could do that as well. And yeah, don't forget to level that like button too.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, thank you. So on our way out, we're just gonna say if there's anyone that you'd like us to pray for, or the rest of us to pray for, you can mention them in the live chat now. So mention their name, and for the rest of you, as you're seeing these names go up, go on there, just offer a prayer on their behalf.
Yeah. Also, really quick, we're not sure. I don't want to like just give people's hopes up, but we really do. I was telling Leonardo, I do want to do.
Oh yeah.
The block parties again, at least once a month, because it is kind of hard. I mean, but maybe we can do more. But I think I don't want to like get everyone's hopes up and then we don't do it once a month. I think it's kind of like accurate for us right now. We're thinking about doing one this Thursday. We got to plan it out, and we'll let you guys know. We'll keep you updated. Somehow we miss doing those and engaging with you guys, and I miss reacting to songs with Leonardo. So those are good. So yes, David's like block party
red version.
Yeah, he's always asking, and not always, but I know he was probably gonna be the first one to respond. So yes, we will keep you guys updated on that.
All right. Yeah, wonderful. So thank you all so much. And then I have an important meeting tomorrow with someone. If you all can pray about that, and then I'll let you all know what that meeting was afterwards.
I'm like looking at the guy. Ezekiel's full name.
Yes. So baby Ezekiel, and as you offer your prayers up, baby Ezekiel has a middle name now, or a full name now. I was working on a project, and I remembered a historic figure from Mexico, someone who played an important role in helping people who were in need. And then I thought of his name, and I'm like, this is it. So our baby's name is Ezekiel, first name, middle name Emiliano, last name Torres. So Ezekiel Emiliano Torres. So Emiliano, after Emiliano Zapata. There's a story of young Emiliano. His dad owned territory in Mexico, owned some land in Mexico. And the government seized his land and took it. And he said that when he was a kid, he saw his dad cry for the first time because he wasn't sure what to do. He wasn't sure how to handle it. And he said, Dad, I promise you, when I grow up, I'm going to get you your lands back. And that was something that he made like a mission. He made a mission to get his father's land, but he also took it upon himself to help other people recover their land. And he was very much about not I don't want to say like he was a Robin Hood, because he wasn't stealing from the rich to give to the poor, but he would have conversations with the government to give them the legal documents, the proper legal documents to I
don't want to yell at him,
to make sure that people got their lands. And so he helped a lot of people, and I'm hoping that he takes his name seriously.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm going to try my best to instill in him, from a young age, that we're here to serve. That's it.
Yeah, David. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to yell on the thing. I mean, I probably could do it, but I don't want to yell at him.
Ezequiel Emiliano. Sí, it's good.
Dad will do the
Ezequiel Emiliano, ven aquí, por favor. ¿Qué está pasando contigo?
That's gonna be Leo's job.
She wants me to speak in Spanish to him.
I want the baby to know Spanish.
¿Qué está pasando contigo? ¿Por qué haces eso contigo?
Yeah, so no. Mama's not gonna really yell at him.
Oh, but it's got to be the full name, right?
Yeah. No.
Ezequiel Emiliano Torres Ayala, ven para acá. He's gonna be like, oops, Dad knows Spanish.
Yeah, he's. Oh, hi, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny.
He just pops in, teach him Spanglish.
Yeah, if you bet that he'll know both, you're gonna win that bet.
No, yeah, sometimes I probably will, but I'll be able to do it. Ezequiel Emiliano Torres, but I don't know. Leonardo's like, she knows how to yell. She yells at me all the time. No, but yes, we will. He will know Spanglish, of course, English, and then Spanish.
And Spanglish?
Spanglish, yes. We have some, you know, maybe Linda can teach them some German, and then
why not?
Roxana can teach them.
It takes a village, right?
Yeah, just learn all these different languages from La Familia from all over the world.
Romanian, all of that.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, that's a lot we unfolded, but I like doing these lives.
Yes, me too. All right, $100 says you'll be amazing parent. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you win that bet. All right, familia. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. If you haven't already, we'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. Yeah. Anyone who has some time to watch any of the other videos on this channel, would appreciate it if you revisit the classics like Oceans and Reckless Love and all that. It would help us out greatly, and all you need to do is just watch it in the background if you can.
Yes.
That helps the channel out drastically. Also, you can visit the merch store, buy yourself a nice shirt. If anybody has any ideas for shirts coming up for Christmas, let me know. I can design it, and then we'll have them on there so you all can buy them and give them as gifts for people. Baby Ezequiel says thank you so much for joining us.
Yep, you guys can see a little bit of the bump. That's the bump right there. He's
over here.
He's in there.
Hello. He's probably going like this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But, all right. Thank you all so much. And then finally, we will be praying for all of you. So thank you all so much. We pray that God continues to bless you and your families and protects you and gives you all health. All right.
We'll hopefully see you guys Thursday.
Yes. Love you all.
Love you.
Hasta luego. Bye.